What up? Welcome to Mo Boxing No Problem. I'm Jose Martinez Jr. and today we have a special guest. We are joined by pro boxer Jason Moloney. How's it going, Jason?
Yeah, really good, mate. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks for making the time. I know you're prepping for a big fight, which we'll definitely get to and talk about. But it's a pleasure to get to talk to you today.
Yeah, no, thank you, mate. Yeah, 2 weeks, well, just over 2 weeks out. Tomorrow will be 2 weeks for my world title fight, May 13 in Stockton, California. And yeah, I'm out here in Las Vegas right now, working really hard to make sure that I achieve the dream and become world champion in 2 weeks' time. So yeah, I can't wait.
That's what it's all about. First question I got for you, Jason, is rather basic. I'm sure this is a question you get asked all the time. How did you get into boxing?
Me and my brother. We spoke earlier that you've spoken to my brother before. I'm a twin, for those that don't know. And we were just always really sporty kids and super competitive. I think being twins, it made us even more competitive. You know, we always try and outdo each other, and we just loved all sports. Our first love was Australian rules football. I'm not too sure if you're familiar with that sport. It's Australia's code of football, and we wanted to be professional footballers, and we just loved footy. But in the off season, we didn't really have anything to do, and we dabbled in a few other sports like basketball and motorbike riding and tennis and things like that. But one year we decided that we wanted to go down and try boxing. And yeah, me and a few mates from school, we all sort of said, let's pick up boxing. And yeah, none of my mates really ever did it, but me and my brother, we pestered our dad and said, please take us to the gym. We want to box. We want to box. And yeah, after we nagged him for a few months, he eventually took us down to the local gym, and yeah, we just fell in love with it. We kept juggling footy and boxing for a few years, but eventually boxing took over, and we just wanted to be the best we could be. And we started to represent Australia and travel the world as amateurs. And then in 2014, we both decided to turn professional and chase the dream of becoming a world champion. And here we are, 2 weeks out. 2 weeks out from my fight for the world title. And then my brother, my twin Andrew, fights the week after me on May 20 on the Haney and Lomachenko show. So within 1 week, we can both achieve the dream and both be world champions. And yeah, it's an incredible story and some very exciting times ahead.
Yeah, no, I think we're all thankful you chose boxing. It's definitely worked out. And I did know about Australian football before I even talked to your brother, because I worked for an Australian company, and we would get people coming from Melbourne and Adelaide,
Oh,
and they
really?
showed us about Australian football, and like, you got to watch this
Yeah.
video. So that's how I learned about it.
Yeah, no,
Good
it's a
sport.
great sport. Great sport.
All right, we have a live comment here from K Rod. It says, "Yo, Hoppos Welmo and B Day in 2 days." So he's got a birthday coming up.
Happy
So
birthday.
happy birthday, K Rod. And Jason, I want to ask you about your nickname, Mayhem. How did that come to be? How did you get the nickname?
um, It sort of just come about. I was originally called the Smooth One by one of my first coaches named me that. And I guess the reason he sort of called me that was because people would say, what's the difference in the styles between me and my brother? And Andrew was always, I guess, a bit more of the aggressor, and I was a bit more of the smooth one, and one that would move a bit more and, I don't know, counterbox a bit more and yeah, have a bit more, I guess, I don't know, flair rather than just being
Mhm.
all out aggression. But I sort of felt like I'd moved away from that smooth one, I guess, name, and I'd become a bit more of an aggressive boxer myself. And the way it actually happened was I came home from training one day and the house was a mess. And I'm a dad to two little girls, and Isla, my eldest daughter, had been running amok and just to turn the place upside down. And my wife Georgia, I said, "What's happened here? Like, looked like a bomb had hit the place." And she said, "Oh, I was been going mayhem." And I just thought that sounds so cool, Isla Mayhem Moloney or Jason Mayhem Moloney. It just rolls off the tongue, and I think it just worked well. I said, I'm going to take that as my name from now on. And I think Mayhem is sort of a good name. It's like when you
Yeah.
go and watch an exciting fight, that's what it is. It's mayhem, and it's it's chaos, and it's all that aggression, but it's beautiful. And that's sort of how the name come about from my eldest daughter Isla.
That's amazing. I like hearing the backstory to that nickname. I never would have guessed it, but as
Yeah,
also being a father to two girls, it can be mayhem at times.
yeah, that's right. Exactly.
And then Kara says, "Salute, Jason. Appreciate it, man, and hope you do well in your world title fight, brother."
Yeah,
100.
appreciate it, K-Rod. Yeah, can't wait. Thank you.
2 weeks out. 2 weeks out. And before we start talking about your pro career, I do want to talk a little bit about your amateur career. What were some of your major accomplishments from back in the day?
The biggest accomplishment of my amateur career, I went to the Commonwealth Games in 2010. 2010. For those that aren't a part of the Commonwealth, probably haven't heard too much about it, but in Australia, the Commonwealth Games is a big deal. It's sort of the step down from the Olympics. It's a major international tournament that only happens every 4 years, and yeah, it gets huge publicity and huge media attention, and yeah, it's the second greatest honor you can achieve as an amateur. And yeah, in 2010, me and my brother Andrew both went and represented Australia in Delhi at the Commonwealth Games. And in the first fight over there, I had a great win over Michael Conlon from Ireland, who is about to fight and become a world champion himself. And that was a huge win for me in my amateur career. Unfortunately, I lost the following fight. But yeah, that representing my country at that tournament was a real highlight for me and something I was really proud to do.
Nice. And I did see Michael Collins' name in your resume. Another name that stood out from your amateur days was a fellow countryman, George Kambosos Jr. What
Yeah.
do you recall from that fight, and what are your thoughts on what he's accomplished as a pro?
Yeah, that was another cool story actually. Obviously, it's amazing to see what George has gone on to accomplish and become undisputed and bring those mega fights to Australia last year, which I was very thankful to be a part of and fight on both of those shows where he fought Haney. But yeah, I remember I was only pretty raw in my amateur career. Me and George were both quite young at the time, and it was a Thursday night. I was sitting on the couch with my dad watching TV, and he got a call from a matchmaker, and they said, "Hey, listen, we've got this big ticket seller in Sydney." At the time, George was undefeated, and yeah, he'd sold a lot of tickets, and his opponent had pulled out the night before. And they said, "Would you be willing to come to Sydney and fight George tomorrow night?" So we had one day's notice. And yeah, I said, absolutely, let's do it. And I went to school the following day, but I had to leave early so we could catch a flight from Melbourne to Sydney. And yeah, I jumped off the plane, went straight to the boxing venue, weighed in. A couple of hours later, I was in the ring with George, who was undefeated at the time. And yeah, we put on an incredible fight. And I was able to beat George that night and give him his first loss. But yeah, it was an incredible fight. One of the best fights, best memories of my amateur career. And yeah, another good name to have on the resume. And yeah, incredible to see. I think we're probably 16 at the time, but incredible to see where we both are now. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a cool story from the amateur tournaments, having one day's notice and flying interstate and beating a great fighter like George.
Yeah, absolutely. Great story. And then K-Rod here says, I was going to ask Jason, do you believe America is the best country to seek bigger boxing prize fights? What criteria do you think it takes to be a big name in the sport?
Yeah, definitely. Unfortunately in Australia, boxing isn't such a massive sport, so we don't get, I guess, the media attention, or we don't have the big events like they do in America. So I think America is the mecca of boxing, and that was why Andrew and I, my brother, were so keen to be signed by a promoter like Top Rank and be a part of the big time boxing and get the opportunities that we've been working for, because we want to be part of the big fights and take on everyone and get these huge opportunities, which we've both got in the next few weeks. And I think America is the place to be, but for me, it is also really important for me to help grow the sport in Australia. So for me to win this world title in 2 weeks' time is a huge step to growing that sport. And once I win this world title, I plan on headlining some massive shows and bringing some big names and some big fights to Australia, and carrying on with what we saw last year with George bringing Devin Haney down under and putting on these massive events that really help grow the sport. And Australia really gets behind their own. And yeah, once you've got a world champion I'm sure the whole country will get behind me and my brother, and we'll be able to put some big events on. So, yeah, America's great, but I really want to help grow the sport in Australia.
Yeah, and Australian boxing is just on fire. Recently, I know, Stevie Sparks,
Yep.
won against Montana Love, and he's going to be on the Canelo undercard in Guadalajara in a week.
Yeah.
Liam Paro is going to be fighting Arnold Barbosa for a shot at the Teofimo Josh Taylor winner. Liam Davies put a great performance against Navarrete and almost beat him. You knocked him down. So
Liam Wilson, yeah.
Liam Wilson, yeah.
It's Australia's going through a real I don't know, great phase at the moment. There's so many good fighters. We've got quite a few world champions already with Jaya Patea and Ebony Bridges and Shanika Johnson, and we've got quite Tim Zhu. We've got quite a few guys with belts and girls with belts at the moment, and with me and my brother now about to become world champions as well. And as you just mentioned, with those guys, Liam Paro, Liam Wilson, all these guys that are right on the cusp of fighting for and winning world titles as well. It's Australian boxing's really starting to get some respect and get some recognition that it deserves. So it's super exciting, and I'm proud to be part of that.
Yeah, rightfully so. And then K-Rod says, if you do win your title, please come here to Florida, to Tampa for your title defenses. I'll pull up for you.
Yeah.
So you go, Florida. And actually, that segues into my next question, because, speaking of America and speaking of Florida, you made your pro debut, I believe, in Orlando, Florida, right? Was that correct?
That's right. Yeah,
it was your first world title opportunity against Emmanuel Rodriguez. Fortunately, it was a split decision loss. Didn't go your way that night. But what do you recall from your U.S. debut? And do you still feel like you should have got the decision that night?
Yeah, it was a great fight. It was a fight that I did when the final bell went. I did think that I'd done enough, and me and my team thought that we were going to just edge the decision, but it was a close fight. Obviously, I lost a split decision. It was 115, 113 on all the judges' cards, and one had it for me, and the other two, unfortunately, had it for Rodriguez. But look, it was a fight that I learned a lot from. Obviously, it was devastating to lose, but I really did take that loss as a big lesson, and I got straight back in the gym and just worked even harder. And really developed after that fight. And right now I feel like so much better fighter than I was back then in 2018. And I'm just grateful to be back in that position to fight for another world title, and knowing how much better I am now and how much more of a complete fighter, it really excites me, because I just know how much I've developed, and that now I've got the opportunity. I'll win the world title this time, and hopefully not too soon we can get that rematch, and I'll get my revenge over Emmanuel Rodriguez. But it was it was great to be part of the World Boxing Super Series. It was great to fight for a world title back then, but I think that loss really helped my career, really helped me progress, and now when I win in 2 weeks' time, it's going to make that victory even sweeter.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those fights where you wish you almost had 2 or 3 more rounds, like the old days, because you really came on that second half.
Yeah, definitely. I guess I started with a bit of a game plan of maybe boxing and moving and boxing him, but after the first few rounds, I felt it was a bit close and decided to really push it and take it to him. And the second half of the fight, I just felt in complete control, and I felt like I'd done enough to win. But as I said, it's not something I sulk about now. I really did learn a lot from that fight. So hopefully we can get that rematch one day, and I'll get my revenge.
Absolutely. And then K-Ross says, I was going to ask, what is the highest weight class that you could possibly finish your career at?
Look, I don't know. I fought a lot of my fights early in my career at super bantamweight, 122 pounds. But then when I got a new coach and I guess learnt a bit more about nutrition, I realized that with a bit of extra discipline, I could make 118, and I make bantamweight quite well these days. And the bantamweight division is really wide open now that Anui's gone up and vacated, and you've got 4 vacant belts on at the moment. So I make the weight well, and I think I'm I think I'm the best bantamweight in the world, and I want to go out there and prove that. First things first is winning the WBO title, in 2 weeks' time. But then I want to start collecting the rest of the belts, and hopefully we can line up the rest of the champions, and I'll take them all out one by one and become undisputed. That's the main goal, the all-time achievement that I want to achieve. And then I may go up if the opportunities are there to 122, but I probably won't go up much higher than 122. I'm not the sort of guy that blows out or puts on too much weight between fights. I'm a really, really disciplined guy, and a true professional, and I train all year round. So, making 118 is good. And for now, my goal is just to stay at 118 and become the new king of the bantamweights. And then, we'll see what happens in the future. I might go up one or two, but I can't see myself going up too much higher.
Yeah, and then speaking of the monster Naoya Inoue, how is it like fighting him? He's on a lot of people's top 3, 4, 5 pound for pound lists.
Yeah, he's an incredible fighter. I knew that before going into the ring with him. I'd always watched Inoue quite a lot as a fan and thought he was an incredible fighter, and that was exactly why I wanted to fight him. I want to test myself against the best, and I knew that beating Inoue would just catapult my career. I'd become a superstar with a win over Inoue, and that's why I really wanted that fight. Unfortunately, it didn't go my way, and he beat me. But it was incredible to share the ring with him. He's a tremendous fighter, exceptional speed, exceptional power, really smart in the ring too, the way he controls the distance. And I'm grateful that I got to share the ring with him, and there's no doubt he'll go down as a Hall of Famer, and he's going to have a career that anyone can dream of. I think he'll become undisputed at 122 as well, and who knows how much higher he can go up and keep dominating. He's just an incredible fighter. And look, as a competitive fighter and as a competitive person, I would love a rematch with him one day. But at the moment, my goal is just to dominate the bantamweight division, and then we'll see what the future holds.
Absolutely. And then Kara says, I wish you and Casimiro and Fulton mixed it up in the past. That would have been fire.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. There, I want to fight the best. I've never ducked or dodged anyone. As I said, I was screaming for the Inoue fight. I want to test myself against those guys and the best fighters in the sport. They're two exceptional fighters right there. And as I said, at the moment, 118 is my division, but you never know what the future holds, and I'll fight anyone.
And speaking of the future, this is bringing it into the present day and talk about your next fight. As you mentioned, you're going to be co-headlining Top Rank Stockton, California card here on 2 weeks on Saturday, May 13th.
Yeah,
it'll be for the vacant WBO bantamweight title. You've alluded to it already, but what would it mean to finally win a world championship?
This is everything to me. It really is. It's hard to put into words how much this will mean to me. It's something that I've dreamt about for 20 years. I've been boxing for nearly 20 years now. And, I've given my life for this sport and made so many sacrifices and just been a true professional and just worked so hard to be the best that I could be. And it all comes down to winning this fight and becoming world champion, because I don't think I could die a happy man if I don't achieve this dream and become a world champion. It's something that I've chased for so long, and if I was to never become world champion, it's something that would eat away at me my whole life. So I've done everything I possibly can to prepare for this fight the best I can, and I've never been so ready, physically and mentally, in the best place I've ever been, and just cannot wait to get in that ring and fight for this world title. And I'll do whatever it takes to win this fight. And I'm going to go out there and show that I mean business and that I am the best bantamweight in the world. And I'm going to put on an incredible performance. And I just can't wait to get in there and to have that belt wrapped around my waist will just mean so much to me and so much to my family and my team and everyone that's supported me. I've had so many people help me and support me along the way, and this is for everyone that's helped me. This is going to be a really, really special moment for me to have that belt and to share that moment with everyone. It's it's something that just gives me goosebumps thinking about, and I just can't wait for that moment that I become champion of the world.
Yeah, I mean, it's special. It's what everyone that gets into prize fighting aspires to be, right? They want to be champion.
That's right. It's every fighter's dream. So I can't wait to achieve it.
And then we have a question here from Julio. It says, was there any matchups that you found inspirational growing up?
Any matchups? Oh, look, there's so many incredible fights that I go back and watch. I'm a real hardcore boxing fan. There's so many greats. Obviously, the four kings that that era where the best fought the best. That they're the sort of fights that I love, and it's great to see some big fights starting to happen now. As I said, I'm a massive boxing fan, and I think everyone just wants to see the best fight in the best. And it's great last weekend to see Tank and Garcia fight. There's some great fights to happen. But yeah, I guess growing up, the Duran Leonard fights and Tommy Hearns and Hagler and all those guys fighting each other. That was a real golden era, and love watching those fights.
Yeah, and then Jason, have you visited California before? And are you expecting a lot of your friends and family from Australia to make the trip to Stockton and support you on May 13th?
Yeah, I've been to California once or twice. I haven't spent a lot of time there. I've never been to Stockton, and I've got a pretty good little crew coming over to watch me in 2 weeks' time. My wife will come over. Unfortunately, my two daughters are going to stay home in Australia and watch on TV. But I've got some good, some of my close family and friends coming over to support me and be here when I achieve the dream, which is going to be really, really special. So yeah, I'm grateful to have everyone's support and for them to make the effort to come over here and support me and be here and cheer me on.
Absolutely. And what can you tell us about your upcoming opponent, Vincent Asolabia?
Yeah, look, he's it's his first chance at a world title, and as we touched on earlier, it's every fighter's dream to be a world champion. So there's no doubt that he's going to be extremely hungry. He's in pretty good form. He's coming off 2 good wins, one over Rigondeaux and the other one in an eliminator against Potapov. And they were 2 fights, I guess, on paper he probably wasn't expected to win. So he's probably coming in confident. He'll be coming in hungry. He's a pretty heavy-handed opponent, so he's dangerous. But look, overall, as I said, I'm physically and mentally in the best shape I've ever been. I've worked so hard for this fight, and I think I'll show that I'm levels above him, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to win this fight. And I think you'll see an incredible performance from me. I'm expecting a hard fight, and I'm prepared for a hard fight, but as I said, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to win, and I think you're going to see a great fight, 2 hungry guys going at it, but I'll make sure that I come out on top.
And if you haven't bought tickets and you're in the Stockton area, that right there sells the fight itself. Get yourself a ticket. You don't want to miss that.
That's right. That's right.
And then K-Rod says, I wish James Buchanan fought Duran and Sugar Ray Leonard and Hagler and Hearns. That would have been insanely awesome. Yeah. Been some great fights as well.
Yeah.
And then Jason, as we mentioned, you were in a great position. You're ranked number 1 by WBO and you're ranked number 1 by WBC. So you had 2 paths to pursue, and for a while, I think the media was putting you with the WBC route with Nonito Donaire. Obviously that fight didn't come to be. What was kind of the reason for it falling through, and is that a fight that we can get in the future?
Yeah, as you said, I was in a great position, being rated number 1 with both organisations, and we went over to the WBC convention, and I stood there with Nonito. I faced off with him. We really hoped that fight was the one that was going to happen. I said to my manager and my promoters, Top Rank, that was the fight that I wanted. I've always liked the thought of fighting Donaire. I was always a big fan of Donaire's growing up, and to beat a future Hall of Famer and someone like Donaire to become world champion would have been a really, really special moment, and really helped catapult my career and have a big name on my resume. But at the end of the day, I guess boxing politics is a simple way of putting it, that sometimes these fights that the fighters want don't always happen. And there was no fault of my own. I wanted the fight. People can say whatever they want, that people put out that I've ducked on air and everything. I wanted the fight and I pushed for it, but at the end of the day, it's up to the promoters to put the fight on. And I've got the best promoter in the world in Top Rank, and they said, look, that fight's not going to happen. We're going to go the WBO route. You're going to fight Vincent Astrolabio and fight for the world title. And for me, I'm not going to argue against that. For me, my goal is to become world champion, and they're going to give me that opportunity, which they are in 2 weeks' time. And I wasn't going to argue and say, no, I want to go this way. They're the best promoters in the world for a reason, and they've helped guide some of the best fighters in the world become stars. And yeah, I'm just grateful towards them for the opportunities they give me. And yeah, I said, no problem. Let's do it. Vincent Astrolabio, I'll win the belt here, become the WBO world champion. And hopefully those fights with, Nonito Donaire and, that Emmanuel Rodriguez and Anui's brother, Takuma Inui, hopefully they're all fights that can happen. There's some, great, exciting fights that can happen for me in the bantamweight division. But it all comes down to me becoming world champion on May 13. And I don't care who's on the other side of the ring. It's just about me going out there, winning this fight, putting on an incredible performance, and showing that I'm the best bandweight in the world.
Yeah, and K-Rock cannot wait for May 13th, so I can't wait. Fire emojis. 2 weeks, 2 weeks. And then Neil says, I thought Nonito was going to go back down to 115, not 118. I wouldn't mind that fight either. Nonito and Jason would have been lit. Firefight.
Yeah, it is. And as I said, hopefully one day we can make that happen. He's going to fight for the WBC title, and I'm fighting for the WBO. So if we can do that in a unification soon, that would make the fight even bigger. So we'll see.
Absolutely. And can you let us know how you prepare for fights? Do you watch a lot of tape on your opponent, or do you kind of leave that up to your coach and just focus on improving your style?
Yeah, a bit of both. I always watch my opponent and get a good feel for how they fight. The shots they throw, the distance they fight. I really break down how they fight and how they move and their rhythm. But I watch a lot of my own fights, my own sparring. Every sparring session I have, we video it, and I watch it back and make sure that I'm constantly improving. And yeah, I just prepare like a true professional. I work hard every single day. In between my training sessions, I really, really do a lot of recovery and make sure that my body is in great condition, no injuries, make sure that I can perform at my absolute best every day and look after my body, great nutrition, good sleep, massage, I do everything right and push myself every day. But when I get into, I don't have proper training camps. I'm someone who trains all year round, every day. So I'm not getting into a training camp for 8 weeks and trying to lose all this weight or get fit. I'm always fit. So for me, it's just about dialing down on the opponent and making sure that I'm doing everything right. So yeah, I do watch my opponent a lot. But for me, it's always about making sure that I'm performing at my absolute best, because I don't worry too much about what my opponent's doing. I know that me at my best is good enough to beat anyone in the division. And as long as I'm doing everything right and being the true professional that I always am, the results will take care of themselves.
Absolutely. And then speaking of your sparring sessions, I've seen you spar with Vasily Lomachenko. How was that experience?
Yeah, that's right. That was a long time ago now, but incredible experience. I think that was in 2015. So yeah, I was still pretty raw. I'd only just turned pro the year before, and I was in Oxnard, California, and got the opportunity to spar Loma, who at that time was my favorite fighter. Still really love Loma as a fighter, and got the opportunity to spar him on 2 different occasions, and yeah, it was just incredible to share the ring with him and see, I guess, that benchmark so early in your pro career, to being there with one of the pound for pound best in the world, and to see where these top guys are and how they're performing and how they box. I learnt so much from that experience, and it was something I was very, very grateful for, and no doubt helped me progress a lot as a fighter and get me to where I am now.
And then I want to ask you about who's been the hardest puncher you've been in the ring with, either in sparring or in a pro fight.
Anui's definitely the hardest puncher I've been in the ring with, sparring or fighting. Just explosive. His blend of speed and power is exceptional. And yeah, he caught me with 2 good shots in our fight, both that I didn't see coming. And you know, those shots that you don't see coming are the ones that really hurt you and affect you. And yeah, I got up from both shots, but there's no doubt that he carries some tremendous power.
And now I want to ask you about in present day. Who do you consider to be the number one pound for pound fighter today?
That's a really hard question. I still really rate Canelo Alvarez. I know a lot of people wrote him off after he lost to Bivol, but I still really rate Canelo, and yeah, he's still one of my favorite fighters. Um, Shakur Stevenson's one of my favorite fighters. I don't think you can put him at pound for pound number one yet, but he's someone that I rate as a tremendous fighter. Um, and yeah, I've got so many fighters that I love to watch, but pound for pound, I think Canelo, Crawford, and Nui are all right up there.
I would agree. And what are some things you like to do outside of boxing? You know, some of your interests and hobbies.
Look, in Australia, I live very close to probably one of the best beaches in the world. I love to spend some time down the beach and get in the sun and get in the water and have a surf or a fish from time to time. But away from boxing, I just want to spend time with my family. As I said earlier, I'm a dad of two young girls, and you know, it's hard when I'm on the other side of the world. Like right now, I'm away for 6 weeks for this preparation, and yeah, it's really hard to miss, you know, your family for so long and be away from them. So as soon as I get home and I'm not in full training, my hobby and all I want to do is spend time with my 2 girls, and yeah, get down the beach and have fun with them, and yeah, just play with them. They're you know, they're everything to me, and yeah, I can't wait to get home and see them.
Nothing like some quality family time.
So.
And what would be the best piece of advice you would give someone that's thinking of turning pro and making a career out of boxing?
Just be dedicated to the sport. You know, it's a long, hard road. You need to be disciplined and stick at it. You know, these results don't happen overnight, but yeah, just dedicate yourself to the sport and continue to work hard, and surround yourself with good people that have your best interests at heart. You know, a good coach and a good manager is vital to your success. I'm very lucky that I've got a great team around me that are all got my best interests at heart, and have all made a lot of sacrifices to be in the position that we are. And as I said earlier, you know, winning this world title is obviously going to be a tremendous moment for myself, but also for the rest of my team who have all worked so hard to be in this position. So yeah, my advice would be surround yourself with good people, and work hard. And yeah, with the hard work and dedication, you achieve what you want to achieve.
That's great advice, Jason. And a final question I have for you is not really a question. It's more so opening up the floor. What's the message you want to send to your fans and supporters?
Look, I'm just so grateful for the support that I receive every day. I get you know, a lot of messages from everyone back home, and starting to, you know, get a bit more of a profile overseas as well. So I'm very grateful for everyone's support and everyone that follows me and my career. But yeah, tune in on May 13 and on May 20 when my brother fights as well. It's you know, this is just a dream come true for me and my brother to both fight for world titles only 1 week apart. Yeah, it's an incredible story. Something that we'll perhaps make a movie about one day, when 2 identical twins both share the same record. We're both 25-2. We're both fighting for the WBO world title only 7 days apart. You know, it's been an incredible journey, and we're just blessed to be doing what we love every day, and to be over here and, you know, on the biggest stage, flying the Australian flag, and doing you all proud. So thank you for the support. Please tune in on May 13 and on May 20, and yeah, we're going to do something special. So tune in, watch out, and cheer us on.
There you go. And you guys might be in the conversation for best boxing brothers when it's all said and done.
Yeah, that's it. That's the goal.
Quite the honor. Well, again, Jason, thank you so much for your time. It's a pleasure to talk boxing with you and get to know you a little bit better. Everybody give Jason a follow on Instagram. It's at Jason Moloney. You can see it here scrolling in the bottom of the banner. and I look forward to seeing you in person on May 13th. I'm only an hour away, so look forward to seeing you achieve your dream.
Thank you, brother. Look forward to meeting you, mate. That is going to be great.
It's gonna be great. Thanks so much, Jason. Enjoy the rest
Thanks
of your
for having
day.
me. You
No
too.
problem.
Thanks.
All right.
Cheers,
Bye.
mate.